I think Ben's got something up his sleeve and he's about to get some revenge on J-Lo. What started off as Ben looking like the victim, he's starting to look like maybe the bad guy in all this. And you're either going to agree with most of what I'm going to say, or you might 100% disagree with everything in this video, and that's okay. Leave it in the comments, because I'm always I'm interested to hear your comments on this, because this is I don't think there's a middle ground in this. I think it's one side or another, and I'll tell you my thoughts on this. I used to be a pretty big fan of Ben Affleck back in the day. Obviously he was a huge star. He's a mega star in a lot of blockbuster movies. Him and J-Lo dated the first time around, and this time though, as Ben's older now, he's like an overgrown child. He doesn't really seem involved with his kids. It doesn't seem like he's raising his kids. Jennifer Garner seems to be raising them. It seems like Jennifer Garner's taking care of him all the time, almost like a mom to him. And someone commented, the comment that he's happy around Jennifer Garner, I think simply because she's kind of like his mom now, taking care of him, because she's gotten him checked into rehab multiple times. She's always been there when he's been in and out of relationships. She's been there for him when he's had issues with alcohol pop back up. And again, all those issues, that's okay. Everyone has issues like that. That's not the problem. It's the fact that he seems to not be taking any responsibility in his life. Whether it be his kids, whether it be with his ex-wife, his family. He seems to be the victim all the time. We talked about how he never looks happy. He's always looking miserable. And for a guy who has, so much going for him, it's almost insulting to the rest of us that he's just miserable all the time. And again, you can make the case, maybe he's got genuinely serious mental illness. Maybe he's just a miserable person to be around. But it seems like when it comes to adult responsibilities or things that take some effort, he wants nothing to do with it. Look, he was married to Jennifer Garner. They have kids. He gets divorced from her, and that's fine. People get divorced. They have kids. It seems like he's not raising his kids. He doesn't want anything to do with that. When he's pictured, and you might disagree with that, and that's okay. When he's pictured with his kids, he always looks miserable. His kids are usually walking behind him. It looks like he's not engaging with them. Now, could you tell everything from a photo? No. Could we tell everything, how the relationship is, just by a couple of photos and some magazines online? Of course we can't. But we can take the whole picture, put it together, and kind of get an idea of how that person might be. And that's how he's coming off. Now, could he be a completely different person behind the scenes at home? No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think that who you are is kind of who you are. I mean, people have bad days. People have bad weeks, bad years. There's no question about that. But when it's a constant thing, you kind of get an idea of how a person is. So anyways, then he gets back involved with J-Lo, and as soon as things start getting tough, he's out of there again. Anytime anything takes a little bit of effort, as soon as he doesn't have it his way, exactly the way he wants it, he's out of there. And you can say that's a good thing for him. He shouldn't deal with it. Well, that's fine. But I think as an adult, there's certain things you got to take care of. And if you make a commitment to someone, you don't just get the heck out as soon as you hit a little bit of rough spot. All relationships do. And I'm not judging that relationship. I mean, because we don't know everything that went on. There's reports that J-Lo was very controlling, and that's not cool either. But also, at the same time, he knew what he was getting into. Number one, they were together before, and number two, he knows she's not even a huge star. She's a mega star, and he's a mega star too. So for him to get involved with her and act like he didn't know what it was about, that's insane. And he even talked about how he didn't want the relationship being in, I forgot how he said, I think he said he didn't want it on Instagram. And he wanted a private, more of a private life, which is understandable. But again, you're getting involved with J-Lo. that's not what you know that's not what you're getting into. J-Lo's not a private person at all by any means. Someone else, the comment that talked about J-Lo used all her relationships for her personal benefit, for more exposure, for more media exposure. That's true, and that's not an insult. I didn't assume that was an insult. That comment was an insult on J-Lo, but that's just how she is. I mean, you got to, again, we talk about accepting people the way they are. That's how she is. She's used everything in her life. She used everything in her life for more media exposure. That's just how she's been, and it's worked for her in her career. So again, you can't fault her for that. That's just how she's been. So the point is, though, is if Ben's getting involved with her, and then he's upset that she's talking about the relationship on Instagram. I mean, what did you think would happen if you think you're gonna date J-Lo and get married to J-Lo, and then you're not gonna be all over the news, you're not gonna be in the magazines, you're not gonna be online, people aren't gonna talk about you? That's just comes off as, that's crazy. I mean, you know what you're getting into, and for him to be walking around all the time just looking absolutely miserable, whether he's with his kids, whether he's you see him photographed sometimes with his mom, when he's pictured with J-Lo, when he's driving by himself. And again, there could be multiple reasons why he's like that, but again, it's going back to the point of he can't be a great person to be around when he looks like that all the time. Again, we have bad days, we have bad weeks, we have bad years, but when it's like that just constantly, and he's been like that for the last several years. I don't remember seeing a photograph of him where he's smiling, having a good time, and goofing around. He just seems like he is just not a happy camper. My opinion is I think he's turned into a bad guy. I think that maybe he's jaded from Hollywood, maybe he's jaded from life, maybe he's jaded from being away from alcohol, because that's actually a big thing too, for him to be depend on alcohol or be an alcoholic, whatever you want to call it, and then for him to be completely sober, as assuming he is right now. I mean, that's a big ordeal, especially if he stopped drinking because other people wanted him to. It's one thing if he wanted to. It's another thing if he quit because other people essentially forced him to. And I can also see J-Lo forcing him, putting pressure on him not to drink, to be straight-laced, to put on a certain image that he doesn't want to do. So that can actually lead to him being miserable all the time too. I think he's all of a sudden he's coming off looking like a jerk. And here's the thing, because there's speculation now that there was no prenup, and that they're thinking that J-Lo's got a much bigger net worth than he does, is that he can come back if he wants if he's angry with her, if he's not happy with her, he can come back and not take her to the cleaners, as far as money goes, but he could probably force her hand to write him a check. And even though we assume he doesn't need that money because by all reports he's got a pretty substantial net worth. But if he wants to just get a dig at her, he could probably make her write a pretty big check behind the scenes, because I would assume a couple things. I would assume, number one, we'll never know about it, because number one, he probably wouldn't want everyone to know about it, and B, I don't think J-Lo would want anyone to know about it, that she's being forced to write a check to him, because the question would be why? What happened? Is he staying quiet about something? That would be the assumption. Whether it's true or not, that would be what we would assume, is he staying quiet about something? Was there some type of other agreement? So I think that if that did happen, it would stay quiet. But if there is no prenup, and he is angry with her, he definitely could get a little bit of revenge on her. But it doesn't seem like this divorce with them two is going away easy. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a simple thing where it's going to be wrapped up and they're going to go their separate ways. I don't think it's going to be like that. But we'll see.